Happy to be joined with Kathy joining me right now. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
I'm good, and again, sorry for the mix-up, and I appreciate you still wanting to call in and do this interview.
It's fine. I have nothing else to do tonight.
Well, me neither. And normally I end the show at midnight, but I can stay a little bit longer, and I got nothing else to do. So let's just go ahead and get this started. Uh, talk a
All right.
talk a little bit about yourself and how did your wrestling career got started.
Well, um, I used to work at a little pizza place, and a girl that worked with me came across the street and said that they did her wrestling next door and said I should try out since I did amateur wrestling in high school. So I went over and I tried out and ended up training, and that was like 10 years ago, and I've been in it ever since.
Do you remember the first wrestling match you ever had?
The very first wrestling match that I ever had was with a girl named Roxanne, who was Belladonna on TNA, and we did a mud match at a fair show, and nobody got the mud from the store. They just used the mud that was in the ground. So we cut our knees and our elbows up on the rocks, and it was just on a tarp with some mud.
Wow. Uh, we're talking mud from outside,
Yes.
people stepping on grass and stuff, and you don't know where the mud may have been. So, what's that?
Nope, just chunks of mud.
Well, what was like your first reaction to that? Was it like, I don't know?
I thought if this is the hardest thing I have to do, then it's pretty easy.
Well put. Now, of course, I've also heard of you through another wrestler, right around your size. Her name is Miss Rachel,
Yes.
aka Pandora. You've had matches with her in the past. What's it like working with Rachel?
It is like getting hit by a bus.
Wow.
She's fantastic. She really is. I have to give it to her. She's fantastic. She has beat my butt so many times, and I think she may have cheated to do it a little, but she really is a great wrestler, and she's very strong, and I got to give her props.
You said that it's like getting hit by a bus, even though y'all two are obviously the same size.
She's a wee bigger. She's a lot taller than I am. I
Okay.
just, we just let me stand taller in pictures.
Yeah,
I'm a fairly short gal.
that may be the case, maybe because y'all picture next to each other, but yeah, she may have a couple more weight advantage or something. Um, but let me ask you this. When I think of Rachel, when I think of yourself, I think of other big women such as Karma, Amazing Kong, many others. I mean, there's not a whole lot of wrestlers of your sizes out there in the indie scene. Uh, what's your take on, you know, wrestling with people your size compared to those that are skinny girls?
Well, I am not really concerned about the size of girls as much as I am about their technical abilities. I think that there's a lot of girls that get on TV because they're pretty and because they're skinny and because they look good in a bikini. But it doesn't mean they can wrestle at all. I'd rather see a big girl go at it any day that knows how to wrestle than a skinny girl that can't do squat.
I like that answer. Girls can't do squat. And I'm sure there's plenty of those that can't do squat. I don't know, the lack of training or not trained enough, or they must have been seen in a magazine and promoters say, hey, you should be a wrestler. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of girls get thrown into it before they're trained just because they're pretty.
Do you think that's what, like peer pressure or anything like that?
I wouldn't say peer pressure. It's more of a wrestling started out as a men's sport. Men brought women in because they were pretty, and then women wrestled. And so men still bring women in because they're pretty, because they're skinny, and they think that people want to see them, which they do. Don't get me wrong. Every man flips on the TV and wants to see those hot girls on WWE with their little bikinis on. I think they're hot. Hell.
Hey, I will say this, regardless of what people say about them and the lack of airtime that they get, I mean, they are good to be looked at. I mean, they are beautiful. But in this day and age, it takes more than looks to be in the wrestling business. And
It
if it,
does. It does.
and if people, if you being looking good is what you're good at, then you probably should stick to being a model. I mean, that's just
Yep.
me. Um, Other than wrestling with Rachel, who are some of your other favorite wrestlers that you like working with?
I've had a few matches with ODB from TNA, and she is fantastic to wrestle with. Yet again, like getting hit by a truck. Wrestling her is like wrestling a full-grown man. She doesn't pull any punches.
I love ODB as well. I mean, just her energy and every now and then, for whatever reason, she just feels the need to say "BAM!" I mean, she just she's someone that you can kick it with in the bar or somewhere, and then when you
She is.
and if anyone look at her the wrong way, she will not hesitate to whoop your ass or anyone's asses for that matter.
She is.
And who are some other wrestler that you haven't had a chance to work with but would like to work with someday?
I'd like to work with Jazz. I've always admired her. I would like to work with her, and I would love to work with Molly Holly. She was the last great woman wrestler in my eyes. Not to be rude but to people that are there today, but she was the last one that was just like, here I am. I'm not perfect and skinny and fit, but I can sure wrestle circles around you.
You know,
And that it was just beautiful to me.
as I said a little bit earlier to another guest that I had on, I'd say that Molly Holly's probably one of the most underrated wrestlers, female wrestlers out there. I just didn't think she get a lot of credit for what she done for the WWE. Obviously there was Trish Stratus and Lita, but Molly Holly deserved her props too. I mean, she was just as good as them both, and I
She was, but she didn't have novelty boobs and she didn't hang her underwear out. So,
yeah, I guess you can say that. She started off with the superhero thing with Hurricane, and then she white to censor. We're talking back in the Attitude Era.
mhm.
Either it's either that or just maybe the looks of that we was talking about a little bit earlier. You have Lita in her redhead, and Trish Stratus, who I know people had questioned her at first, but she turned out to be a good wrestler herself. But yeah, like I said, Molly Holly just didn't get enough props. It was a good women's division at the time compared to what it is now.
Yes.
Uh, so for what I've heard, you and Rachel got something coming up. For what I've heard, y'all gonna be at the Georgia for Sleeper Kids World.
We are. We're doing that Sunday. We're going to go eat us up some little skinny girls.
Translation: Skinny girls beware. Especially the Sleeper Kids World wrestlers. Just look out, Rachel and Pandora, Rachel and Kitty and Kathy. Um, You call yourself Sex Kitty Kathy, or you just call yourself Kathy?
Well, it's Sex Kitten Kathy. It comes from when I first started. I didn't have a name, and a local promoter, Tony Falk, he said, "Well, you're sexy, and you're like nimble like a kitty, so we're just gonna call you Sex Kitten."
Very interesting how people.
I don't know where he got nimble from, but
It's I don't know. It's hard to explain that one. I'll definitely like to talk to that promoter. Maybe he went into a cat or something, selling you, and bam, you became a sex kitty. I mean,
mhm.
and other than Sleeper Kids World, of course, I'm familiar with their work. They've worked with professional wrestlers before as well. And they can do customs and stuff like that. Go to sleeperkidsworld.com for more info. I'm just going to give Sleeper Kid a plug just for this.
Also, other than Sleeper Kid, there's Slammin' Ladies, slamminladies.com. We do things for them too, and you can order customs with them, with not just me and Rachel, but with all kinds of ladies.
And
they're fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Lexi Fife, who's in charge of Slamming Ladies. That is a remarkable website, and I have purchased some of their downloads, and they were a real good job there. All right, and other than Sleeper Kids and Slamming Ladies, you have any other wrestling shows you're going to be a part of coming up?
No live shows coming up anytime soon. We're doing a lot of traveling right now. But we also, if you want customs that you can't afford on Slammin' Ladies and different things, you can always, anybody can get in touch with me and Rachel directly on Facebook. We do clips and photo sets and different stuff like that for people who just don't have enough money to order a full match. And always you can check out USWO. That's her and her husband's wrestling company. And they do live shows in Nashville every Friday and Saturday night at Stadium Inn.
Who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career?
Well, Molly Holly, for sure. Any of the older ladies. There's a movie, Lipstick and Dynamite, that I watch over and over again, and I don't know how many moves I've snatched from that movie. And it's all the ladies of like the 70s and 80s, and just fantastic ladies. The Great Moolah, of course. All those ladies that paved the way and got the foot in the door for women to not just be looked at as sex idols, but to be looked at as real athletes and tough ladies, you know.
Well said. For those who are just tuning in, this is Triple Threat Wrestling Radio Live. A little bit after when we normally go off the air, but you might as well call this the bonus edition. I'm joined with Sex Kitty Kathy. Be on the lookout for her on Sleeper Kids World. Be on the lookout for her on Slamming Ladies and other projects she and Miss Waitio, aka Pandora, are working on. Be on the lookout for that. What do you consider as the highlight of your wrestling career thus far? It could be a dream match that you had. It could be a company. It could be a championship or anything in particular. What do you consider as the highlight of your wrestling career?
Well, I held women's title all over Nashville for about a year. That was pretty great. And I'd bring it up again. Wrestling her was one of the highlights of my career because she's such a nice girl when you meet her to wrestle with her. And then you get in the ring and you just really know that she could hurt you. And that you just can't mess with her. And it was really great to get to hang out with her and work with her a few times.
You know, women wrestling has certainly come a long way, getting the recognition that it's deserved, not just for what they look like, but what they do inside the ring. there's companies such as Shimmer out there in the Midwest, and then there's WSU up there in the Northeast, and now there's Shine Wrestling down south. I mean, what are your thoughts on women wrestling right now?
I do think that women's wrestling has come a long way. Um, every once in a while, you still get little cuties that get in that don't know how to do anything, but you just hand those to me and Rachel, and we'll eat them up. But I feel like it's a good thing that we can get customs. A lot of people look down on custom matches. A lot of the guys say that we're prostituting ourselves, but we're not getting naked. We're not doing anything sexual. We're just wrestling. And that some people just really get into that and like ladies wrestling. And we're here to make them happy and make our money and do something good.
I want to know, who are these people that will call women wrestling custom prostitutes? Because I don't see anything prostitute about it whatsoever. It's just like what it's still the main vocal point about it is that they're wrestling. It's just that as fans get to book these matches, they get to determine, who faces who.
Well, they get to be a part of it.
They get to know what it's like to be a booker. I mean, there's nothing prostitute about that whatsoever. It's just a unique way of fans getting involved as it pertains to their favorite wrestlers.
I had an ex-boyfriend that called it prostitution. Needless to say, that's why he's the ex-boyfriend.
Wow. I don't know what else.
I think that he just couldn't handle that I made in 10 minutes what it takes him a whole week to make.
Good point. That's definitely a good point. Sucks to be him, I guess.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, Kathy. What would your advice be to anyone out there that wants to be a professional wrestler? What would your advice be?
Find somebody to train you that's not going to screw you over and just take your money. Find somebody that has a love for wrestling still and that really wants to train you and help you out. And don't do any extra favors for anybody. Don't sell yourself short. And just work really hard to do it. If it's what you want, then get out there and make it happen.
If you wasn't a professional wrestler, what would you be doing right now?
Woo. Probably working behind a desk somewhere. Maybe being a professional piercer. I was a professional body piercer before this. So I might have just kept up with that.
All right. And obviously, it's you and Rachel, representing the big girls. And, that's something else I wanted to bring up. At the end of the day, wrestling is wrestling, no matter who the wrestlers are, big or small. It's what they do in the ring that matters. And this is a question that I ask a lot of people. Do you like being the baby face, or do you like being the heel?
I love being the heel because it comes natural. If I've had a bad day, I can go have a wrestling match, and I can yell at everyone, and I can beat somebody up, and I can be the biggest butthole I want to be.
That's definitely good. Take your anger. Wrestling is definitely a good way to take frustrations out when you're having a bad day.
It is.
It's now that I think about it, it's therapy for a lot of people. You get to beat up people and not get arrested for it.
Yes.
That's
and get paid to do it.
That's it. Yeah, beat people up, don't get arrested and get paid. I mean, I wish there was a sign up there that says, for a professional wrestling, when you beat people up, get paid to do it, and don't get arrested.
And wear snazzy spandex clothes.
Yeah, the spandex too. Some like to wear the spandex more than others, but I guess. Uh, Again, I'm joined with Sex Kitty Kathy. Try saying that 5 times fast. But she's joining me right now on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Before I let you go, Kathy, and again, I appreciate you for calling in. Before I let you go, I ask all guests to do this. It's like a station ID. It's like a voice drop. All you have to do is say your name, and what after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
All right. Well, this is Kathy Owens, Sex Kathy Owens, and you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Girl, I had a great time talking to you, and I wish you nothing but the best going forward, and you keep representing for the big girls. You and
Well,
Rachel.
thank you.
And
You keep representing for us, too.
I may not be big, but I'm tall, if that means anything. I'm a tall, skinny brother.
Well, you just keep telling people that we're fantastic.
Oh, I definitely will. I mean, and if they don't agree, I can always Facebook message you, and you beat them up.
I can.
Yeah, that's your job, to beat people up and entertain. And you beat people up, I get entertained. It's a win-win.
Everybody gets something.
Oh yeah, everyone gets something in return. Thank you for your time, Kathy. I had a great time. Tell Rachel I said hello. I'm sure she'll listen to this at some point. And you have any final words and shout-outs?
Just everybody keep doing what you're doing and loving women's wrestling and helping support us, because we sure need it.
Hey, y'all got a lot of support and then some, especially from me. So y'all keep doing what y'all been doing. Thank you for your time, and you have a good night.
Thank you for having me. You have a good night, too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was my last interview guest of the evening, Sex Kitty Kathy, joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.